Coming up on today's show, the real reason Morbius has been delayed until April.
We'll go through this week's big releases, including the 355.
And we've got all the details on the unlimited screenings coming this new year. Hello and welcome to What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. I'm Luke Owen.
And I'm Dan Layton.
Hi, Dan.
I just wanted to balance you out.
Yeah, you stole my own move. No one's ever done that before.
Well, now we're a team.
I like it.
That's
because
why I presented that.
Previously, you've just been the substitute teacher.
Exactly. Now I'm like leaning in. I'm trying to subterfuge my way into.
Oh, I like this. Subterfuge?
Yeah, it's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah, not subterfuge?
No, like it's not subtle, is it?
What? I don't think I've ever said the word out loud.
Subterfuge. No, I think so anyway. Personally. If not, I'm going with it, okay? It's my
It's
word.
like when I once said to Ollie, oh man, I'm quite looking forward to when they release the Green Lantern Corps movie rather than Green Lantern Corps.
Corpse movie!
And he said, do you mean Green Lantern Corps? And I was like, I've never said that word out loud.
That's it. There's so many words that we just read and don't say out loud. There's a game called Coup. But my friend calls it Coop.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
No, I used to do that as well.
No, ma'am.
No, anyway. Should we talk about Morbius?
Could do.
Yeah, so Morbius, if you haven't seen the news, it's been delayed again. It's the New Mutants. Just constantly getting new release dates.
God, do you remember when New Mutants was announced and then didn't come out for a decade?
Yeah, it was a long old time. When I sat in the cinema to watch New Mutants, there was a part of me being like, I never thought I'd actually be
I'd
here.
live to see the day. Well, it was also in that little middle period between pandemics, or
Yes.
rather between lockdowns. It's one giant pandemic with a few chapters.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, it was that little period, and it's like, is this real? Am I in the cinema watching New Mutants, or am I just sort of fever dreaming my way through another lockdown? Have I really disassociated this hard?
No, I think there were only 3 movies that were released in that period.
Tenet.
There was that, Tenet, and Bill and Ted.
Yeah, and then everything else. I went to see Shawshank Redemption. I saw The Farewell. Surprisingly, came back. Sure.
Ironic for a film called Farewell.
The last movie I saw before they had to close down again for a little bit was The Farewell.
Oh,
Get into that.
Well, anyway, okay. Morbius. It's been delayed. We keep getting sidetracked. So it's been delayed once again. It is going to come out in April.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell. I think it will actually get released this year.
Yeah.
April 1st is when the planned new release date for it is.
They've not announced it for April Fool's Day.
They actually have.
That's banter. That's excellent banter. Well played, Sony. Good for you.
But apparently the real reason for it being delayed, I think will come as no surprise to anyone, is because Spider-Man's doing real good.
Plot twist, people like Spider-Man. Who saw that coming? Not I.
Well, do you know what? Ridley Scott told us recently that no one goes to the cinema anymore because of phones, or something along those lines.
Which was bold coming from Ridley Scott, given his last 2 efforts, which, I didn't not like.
Yeah.
But Ridley, trim it down a little bit. You've got an editor, use them.
But apparently, he's wrong in this one. People are going to the cinema to see this.
I'm ecstatic about how well Spider-Man is doing, because obviously it's been a tricky time and people are still a little bit nervous, and with the recent wave, there have been 2 whole, new, what are they called, variants since. Isn't that what the thing in Loki is?
Yes.
Which has been throwing me all year, by the way. Any talk about this new variant, I'm like... but yeah, like, it's tricky time. People are nervous. Getting people out to the cinema is, it's a big decision people have to make. But Spider-Man proves that the old Wayne's World adage, if you book them, they will come. Like, it's, the movie is great. So I'm just ecstatic that after all this time of like worrying, okay, what release schedules are going to look like? How is streaming going to compare to the movies? When you make a good quality movie, when you make an iconic film like I think No Way Home is, people will flock. People will come and see it.
And we're still no spoilers.
We're no spoiler town.
I think we're still in no spoiler town at the moment because not everyone has been able to get out to see it. Adam, who is in our office currently, went to go see it 2 days ago.
Which is wild to me.
Oh, yeah.
And had mostly avoided spoilers, which I think is even more. If you've avoided COVID and Spider-Man spoilers, you are living life out loud. Fair play to you.
Let's go right here.
Well played. You've seen it?
I have seen it. Yeah. Don't worry, no, I have seen it. I literally went to the first screening.
For a second, we were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like before we started rolling, I was going, and then this happened, and then this happened. And
Do you think there's a reason why this happened?
And you waited to be on camera to tell me that you hadn't seen it yet. Like, yeah, that would have been awful.
No, don't worry. I have seen it. I reviewed it on this very show. But like Spider-Man, it's so funny because we were talking about this before we started, and I was like, oh yeah, the reason why they're delaying is because Spider-Man's doing really well. And then it was either you or Adam was like, yeah, it's done over $1 billion. And I was like, no, it hasn't. Like, get out. No, it hasn't. Went on to Box Office Mojo. $1.3 billion.
And I believe it's the second fastest movie to ever do it, only behind Endgame.
That is insane. Yeah. And I actually think, like, you said, like, credit to Sony. I think it's actually a real credit to Sony, the restraint they did on the trailers. Given all the rumors and everything that we've been circulating around the movie, they've kept it so, like... Basically the tease of the movie is like, hell, do you want to see some old villains? That's the pull of the movie. You can ignore all this stuff happens here. It may or may not happen in the movie. We're not going to tell you that. You're going to have to go and see if the rumors are true.
For me, I'm always, it comes from being a wrestling fan for so many years. I'm always a fan of like the pop, of the surprise element, of anything could happen. That's what I'm after. So I like it when a trailer doesn't reveal too much. I think so often trailers can give you far too much. I haven't seen certain trailers by choice because I wanted to just experience the film as it is. One of my favorite things about the Endgame trailers initially was that there was no new footage whatsoever. So to give you... I also think that if in Civil War, had we not known Spider-Man was going to be in it, and then suddenly he's like, oh, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Cut to Queens.
Yeah.
The whole cinema would have been standing. So I'm a fan of anything that can give you that like surprise element. So yeah, fair play to Sony for giving, keeping some cards in their hand.
When I went to the press screening of Justice League, beforehand they were playing some trailers.
OG or 4 hours?
The OG, right? OG one. So they were played some trailers beforehand.
Sorry to anyone who considers the 4 hour one the OG. I just realised I may have opened myself a can of worms there. It's not what I meant. As you were.
Yeah. So they were showing some trailers beforehand. One of which was for The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah.
And I was in a period of time where I was like, I'm not watching anything Star Wars related. I'm just going to be like trailer wise. I mean, like I'm going to go see the movies, but I'm going to go see this. I'll be invited to the press screening of it. I'm going to go to the press screening of this with nothing whatsoever. And a trailer came up, and it came up like the Lucasfilm thing. And I just did this.
Yeah, that's my friend during like any Dune thing.
Yeah,
she was just hiding.
I put my head between my lap, and I
like you were bracing for a landing.
And I put my fingers in my ears, and I went la 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 la,
which ruined the experience for everyone else.
Well, it was so loud, but I was just hearing like these muffled tones. I was like, oh, I don't know what that is.
There's a lightsaber in it. I don't want to know that. Like
next to me because I was on my own as well. Because it's a press screening.
Were you like that's what you were doing this at a press screening?
Yeah.
That's fully. It's one thing to do it in the middle of a public thing, but with critics around you who are stuffy as it is, that's great. I'm into that. Know, yeah. Were you at the press screening for The Last Jedi?
I was, yes.
The one at the IMAX in Leicester Square?
Yes.
Because I was also there. Get into that before we knew each other. But that's a great example of this kind of communal experience that cinema is so good for, that Spider-Man has tapped into, which is that there's the moment in The Last Jedi where Rey is talking. She's in the giant pit of confusion, and it's a moment of like, do you want answers or whatever? And I'm sat there going, oh my gosh, I'm about to find something out. Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but this feels cultural. This feels important. And I could sense there was a tension. The pins would dropping and you could hear them. I do speak English. Yeah, there's something palpable about being in the room where it happens. I won't sing, but with other people who love going to the movies, and that's why big films like this are communal, and I'm just getting choked up and so emotional. And the cinema going experience is so special. So it's kind of smart for Sony to push Morbius back a little bit, to get as many people the opportunity to have that communal cinema experience of Spider-Man, and then give them a new one a little bit later on as well.
Such a pro. You've managed to wing us right back. I derailed us so massively.
I'm always thinking, overthinking.
You were like, how can I get this idiot back on track so we can get to the main topic of what we're talking about?
Official television professional. I also, in my bag, I have the lie detector results, which revealed that, guess what? You are the father.
So apparently from the Sony sort of like line by this was a report by Deadline, is that A, Spider-Man's doing amazing numbers, but B, what they don't want is Spider-Man to hurt Morbius.
Yeah.
Because Morbius isn't a lesser known character. it's got a really good cast in there, and it's got Jared Leto leading the way, so that's going to bring in its own audience. But the character itself isn't a Spider-Man level character, so they want to give it as much chance as possible for like this Spider-Verse to succeed. And I think that's a really, really smart move on their part.
Yeah, completely, and especially because people are, whether it's to do with COVID concerns or financial concerns, people are being picky about what they're going to use their time, if not their money, whatever, when they go to the movies. So it's giving people the opportunity to plan. And yeah, I think this, because I'm not a comic book person. I love comic book movies, but I'm very easily distracted. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not able to like really commit to that kind of comic book lore. So I don't know too much about Morbius. So it is good to give people the chance to kind of explore it and figure it out on their own sort of terms and play in that world. And while they are setting up a universe, which is going to be fascinating. I'm thinking about this a lot with DC as well, with like there are like 4 or 5 Batmen at any given moment. Is this one related to the other Batmen? The Flash, the Batman, Joker, all of this stuff.
I think their plan is basically just like, we're just making movies. Some are connected, some of them aren't.
Kind of chaotic. And so are Sony doing something tied in? Are they not? What do various post-credits in all of the different movies, Venom, etc.
Well, yeah, I think I'll try not to go into any spoilers here.
I'm on Venom 2, I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I know, but there is a post-credits of No Way Home.
There is indeed.
That suggests that none of it is connected to Marvel stuff.
I mean, that's the joy of a multiverse.
Yeah.
If we accept the conceit that there's more than one universe, there's a universe where we're all made of jam. You can get away with anything.
I like that one.
I know. Spider Jam.
This week's big release, it's the Simon Kinberg directed, with an incredible cast as well. You've got Jessica Chastain, Lupita Nyong'o. It's the 355. You went to go see this yesterday.
I'm really special. So they invited me to a press screening of the 355.
I'm a new dad, so I don't get invited to these things anymore. Because like, oh, if you invite him, he'll just talk about the
whose
kids.
fault's that?
Well, it is mine, Dan.
I'm lonely. I don't have anything to do, so they bring me out to these screenings so that I can at least say I've done something. Like when my mum calls, she's like, "Oh, what have you been doing?" I went to the films. So
yeah. So anyway, how was it?
Great. I had a really good time. I think it's really nice to see this kind of female-driven action movie, which isn't about that. I think that the thing about doing any sort of like, oh, this is the female Ghostbusters or this is Ocean's 11 but with girls, is that it kind of has that built-in fan base that sometimes they're already like, well, what are you doing with my thing? And then some people within that fan base are acting in bad faith. And so there's a lot of pressure on the movie to do well. What's really great is seeing an action movie with this female cast that is entirely original. It's something that's going to be completely separate to a Mission Impossible or an Ocean's franchise, and they sit alongside it. It's spies, it's gorgeously shot action. Every single person is firing on all cylinders. Diane Kruger should have been playing action stars for the longest time. She's great. It's a lot of fun. I think that's the thing. I think I love an action movie that is just fun and where, the stakes, what they're fighting about, aren't the kind of main central conceit. What I'm there for is the action sequences. And when you're going to see Bing Bing Fan, I can't swear. I was going to say a word that I shouldn't. Instead, I shall say whack a man's head against a shiny.
Thank you for self-censoring.
Yeah, always do. It's just a lot of fun. It's so much fun.
I'm glad you said that as well, because there was that movie that came out last year, and I'm actually struggling to forget the name of it now, with Karen Gillan.
Oh gosh,
like the Gumball paintball thing.
It's a lot. Gumball Dewdrop. That's not what it is.
No, but it was along the lines. Yes. I'll Google it in a second to do it.
And Lena Headey was in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when the trailer for that came out, there were a lot of people who were like, "Oh, it's Jane Wick."
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that you said that this film doesn't feel like you have taken a male property and have just applied it to this. Because even though that movie wasn't a John Wick, but with girls, people instantly were just like, oh, that is John Wick, but with girls.
And I think it can feel quite patronising to your audiences, especially to female audiences, to be like, oh, this one, but for girls. Whereas this is, it's Jessica Chastain's conceived the whole idea, put everyone together. And I just think it's a really fun movie. I think it's a solid, start of the year, go and watch some big crash bang wallop and have a good time. And I think that anything that allows for new stories to be told in that genre is fun.
So you can get your tickets to go see that using the links in the video description down below. Also out in the cinema is The Kingsman, Matrix Resurrections, Spider-Man No Way Home,
Clifford the Big Red Dog, and West Side Story. Have you seen West Side Story?
I have not yet, no.
Rachel Zegler follows me on Twitter. That's my claim to fame.
Who does?
Rachel Zegler.
Oh,
Maria.
really? Oh, well.
Maria.
Yeah, I mean...
Just met a girl named Maria. She
you-
followed me on Twitter.
You know 24? The TV show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know the tech girl that was in that, the nerdy tech girl?
No, I didn't watch
She
it.
follows me on Twitter.
Wow.
I know, right?
Between us, that's all of Hollywood, basically.
I don't need your blue tick.
Get out there and see West Side Story. For real, though, because it's very good. It's a movie that is like classic in all its... The original West Side Story is a movie for all time, and Spielberg has made a movie for our time. Those are his words, not mine, but it's very accurate.
Do you have a pick of the week, though?
Well, I don't want to pick Spider-Man because... it's
if
the
you- I
obvious
think-
choice, but it's also so good.
Well, I know, and I was thinking, because it was going to be my pick of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it's the 355 is my pick of the week. But I did want to, say, but I think like, if you wanted to see it, you've probably already seen it. So it seems like a redundant thing to have it as a recommendation.
Yeah, I'd see it again. Like, if you want to see
I
something
wouldn't-
again, I'd go see it again.
I did say when we reviewed it last December, I did say I wanted to go see it for a second time before I officially decided where it ranks within my Marvel rankings, and I haven't had the chance to go for a second time. So I do still need to go see it a second time.
It's for research purposes more than anything else.
People are so invested in my Marvel rankings.
What is number one?
On my Marvel rankings, Winter Soldier.
And where is Thor 2?
I think it's actually at the bottom. Hold on, I can tell you.
Oh, that's outrageous.
Why don't you tell us? Thor 2,
love
the
Thor
Dark
2.
World.
I will defend
Are
Thor
you
2.
high?
Not no, but I will defend Thor 2 till the end of the earth. It's better than you think it is.
It really isn't. And,
Nice and short, in and out, job done.
it doesn't feel it. Anyway, what's your pick of the week while I'm telling you what it is?
What I love about this time of the year is that it's so... You've got this perfect blend of... We've got the Oscars coming up. We've got the award shows coming up. So you have an amazing array of really serious, thoughtful, pensive drama movies. And you also get to balance that out with a lot of really fun action movies. So I genuinely think you could pick any of those films and have a really good time. West Side Story is wonderful. It will make you feel a million things. They've made some really interesting changes that really do bring it up to now. And Somewhere is a song that has been sung again and again and again. And I heard it in a new way because they gave it to a different character. And I did a big cry. But also, The Kingsman is just silly fun. It's just silly fun. The 355 is great action. Spider-Man is you can't go wrong. But I think if I were looking at that and I was like, what am I going to go watch this week? I'd probably pick the 355. I won't lie to you.
Thor's dead last in my
That's
list.
a real shame. We'll talk about this off camera.
It's a new year, and there's new unlimited screenings coming this month. On January 17th, we got Journal for Jordan, and then on Wednesday the 19th, Parallel Mothers. Journal for Jordan, I mean, it's Denzel Washington directed, starring Michael B. Jordan. So
I mean, that's a pairing, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
And then Michael B. Jordan was doing an interview this week being like, I'm trying to find a way to get Denzel into the MCU. And I'm like, if there's anyone that can
Bend
do
over
it,
backwards.
it's MBJ. He can get it
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And I love Michael B. Jordan. And it's Denzel in the director's chair.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, I think that, Michael B. Jordan is one of the most exciting talents out there at the moment. I think he's got so much, so many strings to his bow, so much under his belt, under his toop. I think, I'm a big fan. And I love Denzel, and I think Denzel's directing career thus far has been wonderful. So
And you were really excited that Parallel Mothers was going to
Yeah.
be shown on an unlimited screening.
I am a fan of Almodovar's films before. This is his 7th movie with Penelope Cruz, who I also think is incredible. It's getting a great write-up, and she's in a lot of awards contention for her role. It's about two mothers who have a baby at the same time in the same hospital. One of them is sort of older and happy and ready to have his child, and the other one is younger and scared. And it's about the bond they have. And I think the thing about Almodovar's work is that he's very true. And I'm really excited that that's going to be at Cineworld.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me as well, because it's the sort of film that you don't tend to see on big chain cinemas.
And that's what I mean by this time of year. I love that kind of mix of both big brash action, big fun, and stuff that's going to make you feel. Because for me, the whole point of going to the movies is to give yourself over to an emotion. And yeah, you can watch new stuff at home, but I love the process of going into that small flickering space with all of the light.
Oh, yeah.
And just allowing yourself to feel in the moment, in the room, and then leave and think about it. And I'm really thrilled that that's going to be here. So book now.
Right, one last thing.
Is it Cliff Richard?
It is not.
Devastating. Is that over?
Unfortunately, Cliff Richard, the Great AT Tour, has been shown.
That's a shame.
However, you can go and see on January 27th, NT Live. I'm going to get this wrong.
No, you aren't. I believe in you.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I take that back. You couldn't say such a few words.
or Core.
Or Core, yeah. Just spell it out.
Leopoldstadt.
Very good, yeah.
Is that all right?
Leopoldstadt, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I can't swear. I'm sorry.
You can check out any of the films that we have discussed today by clicking the links in the video description down below. And hey, if you like us waffling on about inane nonsense, we have got a podcast version of this, an audio podcast version of this that's got extra content in at the beginning and at the end. It's available on all podcast catchers.
All podcasts?
Every single one of them.
Goodness gracious, there's no excuse.
Even Spotify.
Wow.
But until now, we'll see you next week. I have been Luke Owen.
And so have I.
And that is What's On.